Hey all, I just wanted to share a brief video today about my vlogging setup for my company 1980. I got some cool merch coming from Printful using Shopify system and Cotton Bureau t-shirt. So it's been something I've been wearing with me a lot of the time. As part of this company and as I'm building this out, I am documenting it in the form of a vlog. I learned from Gary Vee just to document the process, not necessarily anything that's going on. So I'm documenting the process. I'm going on week 4 of the vlog, and it's been pretty interesting. I've tried out several different tools, starting with my big camera system to using the Insta361R, which was kind of a pain because editing those files took quite a bit of work. And so I switched back to my Fuji X-T3. If you've been following along the channel, you'll know that I had some issues with the HDMI port, and actually I shared that in the vlog. And so I got it repaired and it came back. So part of this camera setup right now is it's mounted on a small rig Arca Swiss plate. This plate is designed for the Zhiyun Weeble Lab, and so it mounts just on this mount here. The gimbal comes with its own mount, but I like the small rig one because it has a couple quarter 20 mounting points and mounting points for counterweights if you're using big heavy lenses. I have the Fuji X-T3 mounted on. It is the 16mm f1.4. I got this because I like just the focal length. I can hold it right about here and get pretty decent framing, and if I extend my arm out a little bit further, it'll capture more of the frame. Now, I'm not using a Gorilla Pod or a Switch Pod or any other things because I found that it was just too big, and I'm in Seattle and no one walks around. I don't see any vloggers around here, so I look silly just holding a giant setup. I do have these Peak Design little latches or components, whatever they're called here, but it does attach a strap if I do want to use a strap. Now, in terms of audio, I had at one point the Rode VideoMic Pro with a dead cat. Again, it's quite big and it just creates a awkward environment, and a lot of people just start looking around. And so this setup is quite much more discreet, fairly small. I like the mounting point because it does give me a gripping surface. I can hold down here and kind of create this video where I'm vlogging with myself right here. Oh, sorry about that. Audio wise, I'm using the Rode Wireless Go, so it's just a smaller version. This one mounts up here on the hot shoe, and this one is the microphone slash microphone here. You can also hook it up to a lav mic, but I typically it's easier just to go around this way. And throughout the day, I'll have it clipped here to myself. I found that the battery life is pretty decent. I need to charge it at some point during lunch or so I let it charge up. But that will carry me throughout the day, and I just leave it on so I don't have to worry about turning it on and off. And then in terms of audio, it's capturing audio at this point. It's not so great for ambient sound. That's where the Rode Wireless Pro would be a better setup. And then now that I've been filming outside quite a bit in Seattle, I know it's been very cloudy, but there hasn't been a couple sunny days. So I got this cheaper K&F variable ND filter. I like it because it has this little metal twist here, this little metal tab that you can use to adjust the number of stops on the ND filter versus just simply twisting it. So this is my setup now. It's been working pretty well. I switch back and forth between 1080, and now for this week I'm shooting 4K, DCI 4K, and so just an experiment to see what's going on, whether I can make this sustainable. I am shooting in 4K, so it means my MacBook is a little bit older, so I am doing proxies. Otherwise, there's too many drop frames, and so I'm using proxies on my MacBook Pro, and it seems to be working fine. It just takes quite a bit of time to get those H.265 files from the SD card transcoded, and so basically my workflow at the end of the week, I'll plug it in and just let it transcode, and then I'll do the edit. But it seems to be working so far, so that is my setup. I'm going to leave a link in the description to my company page. You'll find more content. Right after this, I'm actually going to be doing some content with that space right there because I'm going to be doing a graphic facilitation workshop tomorrow, and so I'm going to be writing on the wall over there. And if you are following along, you'll notice that my studio is slowly coming together. Up here, I have just a whole bunch of pyramid shape foam that is, hopefully, if you're listening to this, you can kind of compare this to some of my earlier videos. There should be a lot less echo in the room. There's just sound absorbing panels all over the place. I got it up in the ceilings, right in front of me here, in the corner, bass traps, all over the place. And so this place looks completely crazy, but it's working pretty well. The whole setup is quite put together, but every once in a while I just need to sit down and organize it quite a bit. And so there's just a lot of equipment floating around. But for the most part right now, I'm feeling pretty happy with the setup. I will be switching into 1980 to doing more live stream recording with the desktop. So I'm going to be using an Ecamm live setup uh, with a Blackmagic Ultra Studio mini recorder. And so I'll share that on this channel because this is more of a video channel, how I do that process, and I'll share some tips and tricks along the way. So far, really excited about the Fuji X-T3. It's a great camera. I know the X-T4 is coming out, and it's going to be very, very tempting, but for the most part, I am enjoying this. I am filming this over here using my X-T2. That is now my dedicated camera for studio shoots, and it's hooked up to an Anos Ninja 5. Leave any comments, questions. If you have any questions on the setup, let me know where you want to go next. I have been looking at the analytics, and it seems like there's a lot of interest in some of the leather goods stuff, and so there's a weird different niche in some of this camera stuff, especially with Fuji. There isn't very many Fuji videos I've noticed on YouTube. I did a search the other day, and just nothing very much pops up. It's all Sony, Canon, and some other cinema cameras out there. So I'm hoping to share more of my insights. I'm pretty dedicated and pretty locked into the Fuji system. It'd be pretty expensive to switch. And so follow along here if you want to learn more about my love for the Fuji system.